You trust your thoughts, but most of them aren't truly yours. They arrive like whispers you never invited. Instant, certain, unquestioned. Yet beneath that certainty, your mind is constantly taking shortcuts. Silent leaps that shape every choice you make, without asking for permission. You've felt it before. Those moments when you knew you were right, only to realize later something else was steering the wheel. This isn't an accident. It's a pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman is the lens that reveals how your mind actually works, and why the thoughts you trust most are often illusions. Welcome to Beyond the Books. Let's dive in. Your mind is always speaking. But here's the secret we rarely notice. It speaks with two voices. One is fast, effortless, automatic, instinctive. It leaps to conclusions. It solves problems before you even know they exist. The other is slow, deliberate, analytical, careful. It takes effort. It feels like thinking. Kahneman named them System 1 and System 2. And understanding these two voices will change the way you see every decision you make. System 1 is the fast brain. It's intuitive, emotional, driven by patterns and shortcuts. You don't switch it on. It's always running. When you see a face and instantly sense anger, that's System 1. When you read 2 plus 2, and the answer appears without effort, that's System 1. It is the ancient part of your mind, built for survival in a world where hesitation could mean death. System 2 is the slow brain. It is logical, careful, and hungry for energy. When you calculate 17 times 24 in your head, that's System 2. When you read every line of a contract before signing it, that's System 2. It wakes up only when the fast brain hits a wall or senses something unusual. Here's the crucial truth. System 1 makes most of your decisions. System 2 mostly signs off afterward. We like to imagine we are rational beings, weighing evidence, making deliberate choices. But in reality, your fast brain proposes a conclusion, and your slow brain crafts a story to justify it. Imagine walking into a room. A man in a suit speaks with confidence, offers a firm handshake. Within seconds, you feel he is competent and trustworthy. That's System 1. No evidence, no data. Just a lifetime of patterns, quietly whispering, "Yes, him." System 2 could step in. Ask if he's actually competent. Look for proof. But most of the time, it simply endorses the first impression. This is where things get fascinating. System 1 is fast and powerful, but it has predictable blind spots. It favors stories over statistics. It overreacts to vivid experiences. It ignores base rates, the actual probabilities of events. And because System 2 is lazy, we spend most of life living on autopilot. Take the availability heuristic. If something is easy to remember, your fast brain assumes it must be more common. A dramatic plane crash on the news can make flying feel dangerous, even though driving is far riskier, and the statistics haven't changed at all. System 1 responds to emotion and imagery, not probability. And System 2, unless fully awake, rarely corrects the illusion. But this isn't just about thinking. It's about how you experience reality. System 1 is always constructing a story. System 2 mostly nods along. This is why you can feel certain and still be completely wrong. Consider cause and effect. System 1 works through associative memory. It links feelings, ideas, and experiences into a single emotional thread. Hear the word beach, and you might feel sand, hear waves, sense relaxation. If your last beach trip was joyful, System 1 projects that feeling forward. So when someone later invites you to the beach, you feel a quiet yes, without knowing exactly why. This is the halo effect. One positive impression spills into unrelated judgments. We imagine our opinions are built from careful reasoning, that we weigh evidence, consider alternatives, and then decide. But in truth, your fast brain serves up the answer first. Your slow brain writes the story later. Here's the deeper layer. System 1 is a master of coherence. It hates uncertainty. It will take fragments of information and craft a complete, believable story. Kahneman calls this, "What you see is all there is." System 1 never says, "I don't know." It says, "Here's the answer," even when that answer is built on almost nothing. Watch how this plays out. You meet someone at work. They share one opinion you agree with. Instantly, your fast brain decides, "They're like me." From that moment, their ideas carry more weight. Their mistakes are forgiven. They become trustworthy in your eyes. This is cognitive ease, the bias toward what feels familiar and fluent. And then the loop begins. Your fast brain jumps to a conclusion. Your slow brain rationalizes it, and the world around you reflects it back as proof. You notice evidence that confirms your feeling. You ignore the rest. This is confirmation bias, born from the quiet partnership of System 1 and System 2. This dance even shapes your sense of risk and fear. System 1 is loss-averse. A $100 loss hurts far more than a $100 gain feels good. Evolution wired this in. Avoiding danger was worth more than chasing reward. This bias shapes how we invest, how we love, and why so many people stay in lives that don't fulfill them. And here's the twist. System 2 isn't always the hero. It's slow, it tires easily, and under stress or fatigue. It retreats to autopilot. Judges give harsher sentences before lunch. Decision fatigue hands the wheel back to System 1. So life becomes a loop of unseen forces. 1. Fast brain reacts. 2. Slow brain endorses, or is too tired to resist. 3. Behavior follows the snap judgment. 4. The world reflects it back as confirmation. And every loop carves your beliefs a little deeper. Here's the bigger pattern. Every decision you make is a negotiation between speed and truth. System 1 gives speed. It trades accuracy for efficiency. System 2 offers truth, but only if it has the energy and the courage to interrupt the story you've already accepted. Look at the world through this lens. Markets swing on fear and hype. That's millions of System 1 minds reacting to impressions. Laws, debates, reforms crawl slowly. That's System 2 at work, struggling against the current of emotion. Once you notice this, society itself starts to make more sense. Here's the final insight. You are not a single thinker. You are two minds in conversation. One sees in flashes and feelings, the other in steps and logic. Wisdom isn't choosing one over the other. Wisdom is knowing which is speaking, and knowing when to question it. Because every snap judgment is a story, and every story can be wrong. So here's your challenge. Pick one decision you face today. Write down your first fast answer. Then pause and write the second answer that comes. When you truly think it through, comment with second once you've done it. Like this video, subscribe to Beyond the Books, and start living as someone who doesn't just react, but decides twice.